Welcome to our Ireland adventure. In September of 2024, we explored the breathtaking landscapes, historic castles, and charming towns of the Emerald Isle. Come with us as we explore the wild Atlantic Way. From rugged cliffs to quaint, colorful villages, every moment was filled with beauty, culture, unforgettable memories, and unseasonably warm weather. Join us as we relive our journey through photos and videos. Sit back, relax, and enjoy part one of our magical trip to Ireland. Our journey to Ireland began with 18 hours of flights and layovers that left us exhausted, but full of excitement. The moment we landed, we picked up our rental car and headed north, eager to begin our adventure. We had decided to drive all the way up to Donegal first, setting ourselves up to journey south along the wild Atlantic Way, but that meant a long day on the road ahead of us. Needing a break, we made a quick stop at the Keshcoran Caves, our first real glimpse of Ireland's wild beauty. These limestone caves, with their 16 chambers, some interconnected, felt like a hidden world waiting to be explored. The weather was surprisingly warm. The sun shone down as if welcoming us to this new adventure. We could have easily spent more time here, but with so many miles still ahead, we had to keep moving. Finally, after a full day of travel, we reached Dunlow just as the sun dipped below the horizon. Our home for the next 3 nights, the Midway, was waiting. Tired but thrilled, we had made it. The adventure had truly begun. Our first full day in Ireland kicked off with a hearty, delicious Irish breakfast, just what we needed to fuel a day of exploring. First stop, a little shopping trip for snacks and treats at the local deals. Basically, Ireland's version of a dollar store. Our first real stop was Malin Head, Ireland's northernmost point. The views were incredible: dramatic cliffs, crashing waves, and endless ocean. We walked out to Hell's Hole, a deep, narrow chasm. The sun shone warmly and there was just a light breeze in the air. We took some group photos to capture the moment and enjoyed a sweet treat of yummy fruit tarts. Next up was Five Finger Strand, where we couldn't resist kicking off our shoes and playing in a giant tide pool full of shrimp and crabs. The water sparkled under the sunshine, and it was one of those moments that felt straight out of a postcard.
Trying to get the cross currents that are coming in here. Yep.
Not bad.
1 second. Woo!
After the beach, we took the scenic back roads back towards Dunlow, winding through some of Ireland's most breathtaking countryside. Along the way, we made a quick stop to stretch our legs on a peaceful creekside trail where we spotted some friendly sheep and even a few slugs, which we have to admit were less exciting, but still part of the adventure. Now we were ready for a hearty meal, and the Rusty Nail did not disappoint. Great food, cozy atmosphere, and the perfect place to refuel after a long day of exploring. As the sun set, we took a drive through Mamore Gap. The golden light over the hills was pure magic, a perfect ending to a perfect first day in Ireland. Sunshine, stunning views, and good company. What more could we ask for? Before heading to bed, we made one last stop at the grocery store for snacks and supplies. I have to confess that shopping at the local stores became some of our most memorable tourist experiences. Today we're setting off to explore the southern part of Donegal with a packed schedule ahead, so let's get moving. As we wound our way along the narrow back roads, we stumbled upon a charming roadside stand filled with home-baked goodies, a delightful little surprise, and the perfect excuse for a quick stop. Our first destination was a small harbor called the Uí. Just as we arrived, a group of lads in dripping wetsuits climbed up the steep ramp, fresh from a swim in the chilly waters. If you look closely, you can see the tracks of their wet feet across the concrete. The harbor was peaceful, tucked away from the world, yet full of quiet beauty, especially on a sunny day like this. Our next stop, Clogganmore Megalithic Tomb. A short walk from the car took us along a bumpy paved path, fenced off from the ever-curious sheep grazing nearby. There's not much left of the tomb, just scattered stones weathered by time, but standing here, we can't help but feel a sense of wonder. Who built this? What stories did these stones once hold? As always, we're captivated by the layers of history beneath our feet. And now for a more traditional tourist stop, the stunning Slieveleague Cliffs, a must-see destination in Donegal. As we waited for the tour bus to take us from the visitor center up to the cliffs, the sun was surprisingly hot, something we did not quite expect in Ireland. Soon we were on our way. As expected, it was a busy spot with tourists scattered along the trails, cameras in hand. But the real star of the show? The view. Once again, the weather was on our side, giving us breathtaking panoramas of the rugged cliffs dropping dramatically into the Atlantic below. Back on the Wild Atlantic Way, we made our way towards the caves of Maghera. The coastal road, once smooth, soon crumbled into dirt, riddled with giant potholes. As if on cue, the already narrow road became even tighter and the sun vanished behind a rolling bank of fog. Suddenly, the day took on a dreary, almost eerie feel. We knew we'd be passing Asarenka waterfall along the way and figured we'd make a quick stop, but as we arrived we were met with an unexpected obstacle. The road was completely washed out. A work crew had already been there with generators running, pumping water away to clear the damage. We were so close to our destination and yet completely stuck. But as fate would have it, this setback turned out to be a blessing in disguise. After some discussion and a quick check of Google Maps, we realized we had just enough time to take the long way round, about 40 minutes approaching our coastal destination from the south instead. What followed was one of the most beautiful drives of our entire trip. Rolling through the Glengesh Pass, the landscape unfolded around us. Dramatic green valleys, the winding road, and misty peaks straight out of a dream. It's almost hard to believe we might have missed it entirely if not for that road closure. A good reminder that sometimes the best memories come from unexpected detours. What can I say about the caves of Maghera? Simply amazing. The wide sweeping beach of brilliant white sand stretched before us, untouched and wild. The contrast of the deep blue Atlantic against the pale shore was breathtaking, and the low fog over the sea added a touch of moodiness and mystery. And then the caves. Hidden within the cliffs, carved by time and tide, each one invited us to explore. A place where discovering a trove of pirate treasure or the remains of an ancient ship feels entirely possible. Wading through a shimmering pool to reach the largest cave was an experience I'll never forget. The echoes of the water, the cool, damp sand beneath our feet, the sense of stepping into something ancient and secret. It was pure magic.
Morgan, are you coming across?
You gonna get wet?
Pretty sweet. Here she comes. Here she comes.
Say,
Stay right.
that's actually cool. She's completely black. I don't know if it's because been in there. Right.
Are there shrimps? Daddy!
As we leave the untamed beauty of Donegal behind, our journey south along the wild Atlantic Way begins again. The road ahead promises breathtaking landscapes, ancient history, and a taste of Ireland's wild spirit. Our first stop takes us deep into Ireland's past. Creevy Keel Court Tomb, one of the best preserved Neolithic tombs in the country. Estimated to be over 5,000 years old, Creevy Keel is a testament to the skill and beliefs of Ireland's earliest settlers. Its large oval cairn encloses a central court, where ancient rituals and ceremonies once took place. Posing for a group photo among these stones, it is almost possible to imagine the history this site has seen. Next up, Bishop's Pool. The wind was whipping, and with temperatures hovering in the mid-50s Fahrenheit, the idea of diving in seemed, well, a little daunting. "How is it?" I asked a man bobbing in the water. "Oh, it's grand," he said. The moment we hit that water, any hesitation melted away. Crisp, clear, and invigorating, this wasn't just a swim, it was an experience. A reminder that sometimes the best moments come when you take the plunge. Welcome to Easkey Castle, a grand name for a coastal tower. At first glance, it seemed an underwhelming place. Ducking into the door showed piles of dirt and rubble that had fallen from above, grown over with weeds. But a little exploration revealed a low, hidden opening in the stone wall. No warning signs, no barriers. Soon we were ducking through narrow doorways, scrambling up the worn stone steps, feeling every bit like adventurers stepping into the past. The wind howled around us sharp and biting, but the views from the top made it all worthwhile. The rugged coastline stretched out before us, a breathtaking reminder of the wild beauty of Ireland. And of course, we couldn't resist a little Monty Python reenactment. Dramatic poses, ridiculous accents, and plenty of laughter echoing through the ancient stones. A perfect blend of history, adventure, and just the right amount of silliness. After a quick lunch in Killala, we headed a few miles north. By the Ballycastle Road, on the left bank of the Avonmore River, stands the ruins of the Dominican Abbey or Priory of Rathfran. Nestled here near Killala Bay, the ruins of Rathfran Abbey stand as a testament to centuries of history. Founded in 1274 by Norman settlers William de Burgh and Finola de Exeter, the abbey was once a thriving Dominican friary. Its picturesque setting, surrounded by ancient forts and legendary giant graves, hints at its deep historical roots. Through the years, the abbey endured hardships, including the dissolution of the monasteries and the devastating Night of the Big Wind in 1839, which shattered its grand east window. Despite its ruins, Rathfran remains a symbol of resilience, with echoes of medieval devotion, folklore, and local legends lingering among its weathered stones. There's a local folk tradition which tells that the building stones from Summerhill House, now ruined and visible nearby, were taken from the ruins of the Rathfran cloisters. As someone fascinated by cloisters, I find myself torn, saddened by the destruction of one, yet intrigued by the idea of living in a home built with such historic materials. Welcome to Downpatrick Head, a place where the raw power of nature meets breathtaking beauty. Here, the whipping wind tugs at your jacket, howling through the rugged landscape as if whispering old legends of saints and sailors. Funny little mounds of sea thrift, missing their tufts of pink cotton this time of year, make for a lumpy carpet that defies the salty air. And then, those cliffs. Sheer, dramatic, and heart-stopping. They drop away suddenly, plunging into the churning sea below. Stand too close, and you'll feel the dizzying pull of the deep. Out at sea, the mighty sea stack of Doenbreust rises like a forgotten pillar of time, a reminder of the forces that have shaped this wild and unforgettable place. A bit inland, a deep blowhole throws up fluffy sea foam like cotton. We ended our day at our lodging, cozy glamping pods on Claggan Island, and it quickly became one of our favorite stays. Getting there was an adventure in itself, driving through dunes along a narrow sandy track that led us to this unique place, home to a working farm. Our pod was warm and inviting, with stunning views stretched across fields to the ocean. After a long day of exploring, we gathered in the communal kitchen, enjoying a late dinner and took hot showers in the shared facilities. A perfect, peaceful end to an unforgettable day. This morning we started our day with a simple yet perfect breakfast, fresh farm eggs we found in the kitchen. Fueled up and ready to go, we set out to explore the stunning Mullet Peninsula. On the recommendation of our host, we made a stop at the Solis Museum where we delved into the rich history of the area. This was a new facility and we followed our tour with a delicious lunch of seafood chowder in the attached cafe. After visiting the museum, we took a drive past Blacksod Lighthouse, just long enough to snap a quick pic of a place with such a fantastic name. Next, we stopped at the ruins of Devilis Church and its old graveyard. The moody weather set the perfect atmosphere as we wandered through the overgrown grass and blackberry briars, reading the weathered gravestones. We continued a little ways up the road to St. Devilis Well. It's said that she fled here to escape an unwanted suitor. He pursued her, drawn by her beautiful eyes, so she plucked them out and cast them away. After he left in horror, she washed her eyes in the well's waters, miraculously restoring her sight, and now the well is believed to have healing properties for eyes. Tradition says to drink 3 times from the well and to tie a token to a nearby tree. Gaelic Ireland resisted paying for religious favors, and knowing it was frowned upon, we cleaned out some of the clogging coins and placed them with some nearby trinkets by the shrine instead. As we continued on our journey, we made a quick stop at the narrowest point of the Mullet Peninsula, where a road cuts through land barely 800 feet wide. Here, the beach isn't sand, but a stretch of deep, smooth stones and a beautiful array of colors. After finally pulling ourselves away from the curious cows near our parking spot, we took in the stunning views of the surf and the dramatic blowhole at Dunamo. Apologies if my pronunciation is horribly American. The name means the cattle fort and refers to a circular fort that once existed at the edge of the promontory. In 2002, a now very rusty sculpture was built around the blowhole, but the blowhole has been here for much, much longer. Our journey along the Wild Atlantic Way brought us to another incredible stop, Kia Nanain. It quickly became one of my personal favorites. Just the northern headland of the Mullet Peninsula, yet something about it captivated me. Rolling sheep crop grass tumbling down to jagged rocks where the surf leaves behind dark, shimmering pools of water. We wandered, we explored, and we took it all in. A new day took us south to explore Achill Island. After a scenic hour-long drive, we arrived at St. Dymphna's Church, a hauntingly beautiful seaside graveyard with weathered headstones and the ruins of an ancient chapel. Some believe its origins date back as early as the 8th century. The cemetery holds medieval gravestones alongside more recent ones and serves as a memorial to two of Achill's greatest tragedies, the Clew Bay drowning of 1894 and the Kirkintilloch fire of 1937. Just next door stands Grace O'Malley's Tower House, a striking 15th century fortress built by the O'Malley clan. This legendary pirate queen ruled the western seas in the 16th century, establishing strongholds like this one along the coast.
Hi, Daddy.
It's just amazing because it's not a little amount of work somebody did build this thing originally.
So what do we have? Wood floors with a stair.
That's maybe a ladder.
I want to see a path.
Our journey continued along a winding, zigzagging road, hugging the coastline as we made our way to the white cliffs of Ashleam. The steep descent offered breathtaking views with the lower half of the road clinging to the cliffside. We stepped out of the car to explore on foot, edging closer to the rugged coastline. Along the way, we greeted shaggy sheep grazing freely and stumbled upon old hauling equipment, remnants of the past resting at the cliff's edge. The raw beauty of this place was unforgettable. The winding road along the cliff's edge led us to Keem Beach, where blue waters and white sand created a scene straight out of a tropical paradise. We had considered a wild swim, but the biting wind and chilly air stole our resolve. Instead, we walked along the smooth sand, soaking in the stunning views. We left the wind behind, and the sun was beaming when we arrived at the deserted village at Slievemore. Although most have turned to rubble, 80 to 100 stone cottages once stretched along a mile of this hillside, a haunting reminder of the past. They were used as summer homes while tenants grazed cattle and grew potatoes. The area's history dates back thousands of years, with nearby Neolithic tombs and early medieval settlements. Wandering through the ruins, along ancient tracks and lazy bed fields, it feels like stepping back in time. Sheltered beneath Slievemore slopes, this tranquil spot offers a perfect place to spend a warm afternoon.
Yeah. Lazy beds.
Starving, we finally found some delicious food at Alice's. Then, as if we hadn't packed enough into our day, we made a stop at the Clagan Mountain Trail on our way back. Another windy walk, but the reward was breathtaking sunset views. We wrapped up the hike, scrambling along the rocky shore, collecting seashells and little treasures. You can't see the rain or hear the wind, but it was there. Still, we weren't ready to call it a night. Staying on an island had us dreaming of beach time, yet with our packed days, we reached our last night on Clagan Island without ever testing the water. Only Daniel was brave enough to strip down in what felt like a gale and take the plunge. Another day of transition along the Wild Atlantic Way as we hit the road to move our home base. A spontaneous stop at Neil Cemetery satisfied our love for history and nostalgia.
You know, why can't you just scroll through them and go remove, remove, remove?
Found it.
Sticking to as many back roads as possible, our favorite way to travel, we made our way to Kong, where we planned to spend much of the day embracing our inner tourist as fans of John Wayne's iconic film, The Quiet Man. In Kong, we visited the charming little museum dedicated to the Quiet Man, set in a replica of the cottage from the film. Upstairs, the gift shop tempted us to spend plenty of euros on souvenirs. As we wandered through town in search of lunch and more shopping, we loved spotting familiar locations from the movie, bringing the classic scenes to life. After getting our fill of Quiet Man memorabilia, we explored Kong Abbey. Founded in the early 7th century, it has a long and storied history. Rebuilt multiple times after destruction by fire and raids, it became an Augustinian settlement in 1138. The abbey was closely tied to Ireland's High Kings. Suppressed after 1542, it later fell into ruin until restoration began in the 19th century. Today, the abbey remains one of Ireland's finest examples of early Gothic architecture, with intricate stonework, a historic cloister, my personal favorite, and the fascinating monk's fishing house on the nearby river.
I'm not good at keeping it steady.
Phone gimbal.
It's so green. So green. So green. Sherwood?
Coming from a land of mountains and forests, we didn't have high expectations for Kong Wood, but we were wrong. Walking the soft trails through lush green foliage was a delight. Despite the distant sound of a nearby shooting range, the woods felt peaceful. Along the way, we came across some truly impressive trees that must have stood here for many, many years.
Good. You know, I'm kind of reaching around.
Oh, come on. Foot in diameter.
We wrapped up our walk through the woods with a peek into the monk's fishing house, where fish were once caught through a hole in the stone floor. Then we took a moment to admire the old Church of Ireland, standing since 1811. And now it was time to be on our way. For the next 3 nights, we're staying at Craig Castle, an experience that proved to be quite interesting. If you want to hear more about our experience here and the interesting tidbits about its history, then tune in for part 2 of our Ireland adventure. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you've enjoyed the journey so far.
Thank you, Morgan, for not waving. Our bedroom is there. Sinead O'Connor's room. Door 1. Door 2. Pretty nice. Got a gallery. Up the stairs. Yummy.
The floor shakes slightly when you walk. Some weird art in here. There's a kitty cat. Hi, kitty. You look like an old kitty.